Hi everyone, I'm attorney Aiden Durham with 180 Laco in Colorado, and you're watching a very special bonus episode of All Up in Your Business. On this episode of All Up in Your Business, we're going to talk about business identity theft. But first, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share, and check the description for links to additional information and resources. Now, this is a very special episode of All Up in Your Business brought to you by my friends over at Company Alarm. I'm going to be honest with you guys. Prior to learning about Company Alarm, I really didn't even know that business identity theft was a thing. I mean, I knew that identity theft was a thing, but it never occurred to me that businesses could be at risk the same way people are. But once I started to really think about it, it makes a lot of sense. It is shockingly easy for business identity theft to happen. So what does business identity theft actually mean? Business identity theft is a crime in which a cyber criminal steals a business owner's assets by silently transferring ownership of their company to somebody else. Business identity theft happens when criminals pretend to be owners or officers of a business. These people will often file official documents for a business in order to make it look like they have some authority or agency. Then they'll open up credit lines, take out loans, drain bank accounts, all under the business. And usually the actual business owner has absolutely no idea that any of this has gone on until it's far, far too late. Company Alarm was founded by Andy Pham, who was actually himself a victim of business identity theft. Andy had a business registered in Nevada. One day a few years ago, a complete random stranger logged into the Nevada Secretary of State's business filing website and within seconds removed Andy as the managing member of his own company. Andy had absolutely no idea about any of this, and by the time he found out, the person had already essentially converted the company and all of its assets into his own and had borrowed almost $2 million against Andy's land and property. So you may be wondering, how in the world can something like this happen? And unfortunately, it's surprisingly easy. You see, in most states, you can just file business documents with the Secretary of State with little or no oversight. There's no person behind the scenes at the Secretary of State's office who's cross-checking documents or really verifying the information. Any forms or documents that we file will usually have to acknowledge or certify that we are authorized to file the documents on behalf of the business. But, I mean, the Secretary of State is just taking our word for it. Nobody is actually checking to make sure there's actually valid authorization. And business owners, most of us aren't checking our business's information on a regular basis. We're not reviewing our business's filing history the same way we might review our bank or credit card statements or monitoring it like we would with our credit reports. It really just doesn't occur to most of us that we could be vulnerable to this kind of risk. But let me show you just how easy it is. How easily I can add myself as an owner to somebody else's business. So in Colorado, if you're forming an LLC, you have to include on the articles of organization the name and address of the person forming the LLC. Then when you're opening a bank account for the LLC, for example, the bank will typically check the articles of organization to make sure your name is on it somewhere. But let's pull up some random LLC that has been recently formed in Colorado. Here we go. Perfect. Apparent Randomness LLC. Sorry for calling you out, Apparent Randomness. Love the name though. Let's just go in here. There you are. We'll file a form. Let's try good old amended and restated articles of organization. And now all I have to do is file a new articles of organization with my name on it as the person forming the LLC, pay the $25 filing fee, and now I am instantly the proud new owner of this apparently random LLC. Or you know what? I don't really want to steal their business altogether, but I do really like the name. I just want to steal the name and use it for my own LLC. So instead, why don't I just go ahead and file a quick statement of dissolution to dissolve this LLC, thus making the name available for me to use. Score! See how easy that was? Within seconds, I can make whatever kinds of changes I want to this random person's business. And he or she probably has absolutely no idea. Now, thankfully, Colorado has some security measures in place to try to prevent this type of thing from happening. For example, you can subscribe to email notifications so you'll receive a notice anytime a document is filed for your business. There's also a rarely used option to set up a secure business filing, so you have to log in with a specific email address and password before you can file anything. If you have a Colorado business, do these things immediately. If you have a business in a different state, check with the Secretary of State's office to see if they offer any similar security measures. Outside of that, though, there's really no way to prevent this from happening. That is, until now. Enter company alarm. Company alarm was created to stop this threat of business identity theft. They provide 24/7 monitoring of the business information that is registered with the state. If any of that information changes, you'll receive an immediate text alert so you can jump into action and prevent any further damage. But it's not just random strangers that we have to be concerned about. Sometimes the business identity thief is much closer than you may realize. Let's say you have a business partner. The two of you work tirelessly for months, maybe years, to start your business. You've been getting along great and everything is fine until suddenly it isn't. You get in, some kind of fight or argument and you can't agree on which direction to take the business. Maybe you'll work it out and come to some kind of compromise. Or maybe you don't. And instead of continuing to argue about it, your business partner just files a couple of documents to remove your name from the business registration altogether. Yep, that happens too. It's not just these random cyber criminals that we need to worry about. That's why a service like Company Alarm is so important. As entrepreneurs, we have a lot of stuff going on and we usually have multiple things on our plate at any given moment. The last thing we need to worry about is someone just stealing our business right out from under us. So what I want y'all to do is head over to companyalarm.com and sign up for a free 30-day trial so you can start protecting your business from identity theft. That's all for this episode, folks. Drop a comment below, let me know what you think. And don't forget to check the description for additional information and resources. Thank you all so much for watching. I'm Aiden Durham, and I'll see you next time.